Shakur Stevenson, who has a big fight coming up April 30th, himself a unification match with Oscar Valdez, said Bud is the best fighter in boxing, and if him and Canelo's at the same weight, Terence Crawford would defeat Canelo Alvarez. When we look at the pound-for-pound list, it's very subjective, but at one point, it was a debate, in my book, between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. That's no farther debate, in my opinion. I think Canelo Alvarez is the best pound-for-pound in boxing. Now, everybody in boxing, regardless what they think about Terence Crawford, knows he has the talent to be number one pound-for-pound. He just doesn't have the resume. And nobody in boxing has the resume Canelo Alvarez has. He's fighting undefeated champions back-to-back, became undisputed within a year, and he's currently going to fight Beevil May 7th, going for his second division to become undisputed in. And I know Terence Crawford was undisputed at 140, but what has he done lately? At 147, and even though Spence is kind of like a lifer at 147, he has a better resume than Terence Crawford at 147. Even though I think Terence Crawford is the best at 147, he hasn't had the fights to prove it. Errol Spence has fought Sean Porter, Danny Swift Garcia, who I think is very overrated, is garbage at 147. His best weight is 140. And now he's fighting Ugas in a unification match. Now, y'all know where I stand between Bud Crawford and Errol Spence. I feel like Spence don't want that smoke. But the fact is, Errol Spence has the better resume at 147. Crawford has knocked out all his opponents at 147, including stopping Sean Porter. He just hasn't had the names, the opposition, at 147 that Canelo has had at 168 and now 175. And for that reason, I cannot put him pound for pound number one. It's all about updating your resume. And Sean Porter was a good fight to update it a little bit, but to catch Canelo Alvarez, he has to update it a lot more than Sean Porter. Now, Shakur Stevenson also mentioned if these two were in the same weight class, Bud would beat him. He think he would outbox him. The only chance he think Canelo would have is to knock out Terence Crawford. Both these guys possess elite skill. A great hypothetical fantasy fight. For me, it'd be hard to call because I never thought about that. Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford at the same weight in the ring going at it. Both are around the same height. Terence Crawford got a longer reach. Canelo's a world-class counterpuncher. Terence Crawford's a switch hitter. Canelo is one of the best body punchers in boxing. And not to mention boxing IQs, they're equal. I guess I have to make a fantasy prediction, so this is how I see it going. I see them both guys going at it for 10 or 11 rounds. And going into the 12th round, Terence Crawford has the edge. But you know how Terence Crawford like to finish the show and has a little dog in him. This time, the dog in him will be his demise. Canelo will catch him with a left hook, and the fight will end there. Canelo will knock him out in the 12th round, snatching the victory from the jaws of defeat in a close, razor-thin fight. By the way, I know some of you guys are petty. I know if he beats Beevil, he will not be undisputed at 175, but he's headed in that direction. That's what I meant. Anyway, leave your thoughts and comments below. Tell me what you think about Shakur Stevenson's comments and your predictions. Jay Beezy, I'm gone.